feel it when it's not tangible. You have to believe it when you cannot see it. You gotta be possessed with the dream. The dream. Yeah.
Yo, what is up, guys? Straight from the Chest Sunday edition. My name is Justin Groth. I'm your host. Guys, I hope you're doing awesome on this Sunday. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. But listen, guys, I really love my job. Don't get me wrong. I love personal training, and I get to work with a lot of different folks, a lot of different people from a lot of different cultures, jobs, a lot of different worlds, if you want to say. But and I say that facetiously because not everybody I really want to work with. Let's be honest. A lot of times I think that we fool ourselves if we say this is something that I love working with this person. I love working with this person, and you try to mask the fact that you hate working with that person. But that's just all a part of the job description. I mean, you're not going to really mesh well with every single person that you interact with, right? And for me, that's no different. I train a lot of people that make my job a little bit more difficult, and that's okay. You know, I'm not trying to say that that's a bad thing. I mean, sometimes it makes me better. I would argue to say that it always makes me better because that person's keeping me on my toes, so to speak, right? But there's a position that somebody will take based on the way that what their mental faculties are and how they process information. And, you know, I have a person that is probably three people in one. So when I'm servicing this person, it's like servicing three at one time, because the way that he processes information, the way that he expresses himself it's a lot for me. And it would be a lot for most people because it's very easy for him to assume that training is very one-dimensional. You know, that's the way he sees working out. It's like one-dimensional. And I get it. Becoming or being in fitness, it seems very easy to take care of somebody in their fitness journey, and it's not all that hard, and because it's just lifting weights and it's basic, right? Wrong. There's so much more involved with that. There's so much more involved with the person and applying a fitness program to match them, to gel with them and their, like I've stated before, their anthropometrics and their entire posture and making something that's going to fit their needs, that they're going to be productive with, and they're going to actually make progressive changes with. But to him, it's one dimensional. But the way that he perceives things is he's very what's the word I want to say? He's very analytical. And so he questions things, and it's okay to question things. I love questions, but at the same time, when you question things, you question things that you should be just leaving to the professional. And so what I mean by that is when you question why we're doing a certain exercise when we could be doing something else. Example, goblet squats over back squat. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with what a goblet squat is, it's basically a front rack position with a dumbbell in front of the body at the chest, as opposed to a back squat where the weight is on your back. And so why don't we just do a back squat? And the reason why he asks those, or the reason why he implements that, is because that's what's basic, fundamental understanding, knowledge of what it means to train your legs in a squat, right? You put the weight on your back. You see it all the time being done in ads or in movies or in shows. You see it on TV being displayed like that. And nobody ever really complements their exercise program with something in the front, a loaded front squat. Instead, it's always back. So what he's questioning is, why don't we do it that way? And that's the stuff I don't like, because, and I will never let him know that I don't like that, but it's something that is, you're questioning why I'm doing something when you just need to just trust my process. That's all I'm asking. Just trust my process, because there's a riff, rhyme, and a reason behind why I'm doing something for you. It's not all the time just because I think this is funner. There will be times where I implement exercise because they're more challenging, but in this particular regard, there's a reason why I'm doing it. And you don't understand that because you're one-dimensional, and I'm talking about the client. He's one-dimensional in terms of the way that exercises should be executed. You know, bench press for chest, an overhead press for shoulders, a deadlift for the hamstrings and for the back, and a squat for the legs, right? He's one-dimensional. But there's so many different variants to those exercises that need to be complemented or need to be structured accordingly with that person's posture, their previous injury history, and their goals, etc. There's multiple variants and elements to look at, right? When diagramming someone's regimen or their routine, so to speak. And this reminds me of something that, it reminds me of an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. Now, I love Everybody. There was a time where I used to watch consistently. I would binge watch Everybody Loves Raymond. And I don't mean I'd go on Netflix and I would just watch season after season, binge in that regard. I mean, no, when it would come on TV, I'd watch it and then I'd wait the next day and I'd watch another episode. And that's how I watch Everybody Loves Raymond. But I've seen every episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. And there are times where I just get into those series, what would you call them? I don't know, the series. I would get into that type of, I would get into that episode or that I would get into that. Why can't I choose I would get into that specific, oh my gosh. I just would get, whatever. So, Everybody Loves Raymond, Seinfeld, got into those at that particular, I got into Seinfeld at a particular time. Anyway, so Everybody Loves Raymond, there's an episode that the dad is wanting to repaint Raymond's house. And the dad wants to paint it yellow. And Raymond is against yellow, but doesn't have the goal to tell his dad, look, man, I don't want to paint it yellow. I hate yellow. Why can't we paint it this color instead? But he lets his dad, he says, I think he does muster up the courage, actually. It's been a while since I watched the episode. I think he does muster up the courage that he says, I don't want to paint it that way. I want you off the job. And he fires his dad. Now, his dad obviously is broke by that, but he doesn't say anything because he's got old man pride. And he also doesn't tell Raymond the reason why he wants to paint it like that, because he feels Raymond should just listen to him because he's his dad. He knows better. At the end of the episode, Raymond apologizes to his dad for reacting the way he reacted. And his dad then let Raymond understand why he wanted to paint the house that color. Because it popped in a slew of houses that were all the same color. So when he goes to resell it, it's going to have a better value, and it'll be more appealing to the person who is going to buy the house. And there was a myriad of reasons why, but they were all wise reasons why he wanted to paint the house that color. It wasn't because he just was stubborn like Raymond had thought. It wasn't because he was prideful like Raymond had thought. There was a reason behind it. And a lot of times we'll never understand the reasonings why we have these conflicts in our life, or why we're going through something, or why we're taking a certain position. But there's always a reason behind it. And God always has an understanding for the future of why you're going through these things the way you are. Just like there's a reason to my madness, why I train people the way I train people, or why I'm training specifically this guy as a goblet squat for his lower body exercise instead of a back squat that he thinks that we should be doing instead. I don't want to have to get into the reasonings why, but if it gets to that point, I'll have to explain, because you have a kyphotic position in your you have upper cross syndrome. And if we put a weight on your back, you probably don't even have the prerequisite mobility in the lats or in the shoulders or even in your wrists to even assume that position to where it's mechanically advantageous to you and comfortable, to where when you go down in the back squat, you're not going to be leaning forward. Because of your kyphotic positioning, it just makes more sense that we bring the weight in front of us. We can hold it in front of us, elicit more core contraction and more core stimulation in the process, kill two birds with one stone while getting work on the legs as well as the trunk, and not going against our posture, our positioning. And that's the reason why I'm having you do a goblet position squat instead of a back squat. But I shouldn't have to go through these bullet points here for you to just understand that you're with a professional. You're not just with some random trainer that just wants to do something just because it's cool. I'm doing these things on purpose. There's a reason for it. And that's what God is telling us. When he's in heaven and he sees the whole plan, he's saying, you got to go through this for this reason, but I'm not going to explain it to you, because you're just supposed to be obedient. You're just supposed to listen. You're just supposed to surrender. You're just supposed to assume the posture that I want you in. Don't worry about tomorrow. Worry about right now. This is the reason why I have you here. Don't ask questions. Just do it. Just be obedient. And that is the point. That's my message. Just be obedient. Trusting him in advance. Because you don't understand the reasons why he has you here. You don't understand why your partner left you. You don't understand why you didn't get that promotion at work and John got it instead. You don't understand. You don't understand why you just broke your arm and now you have to miss work. You don't understand why you have hospital bills that are just running up the wazoo. You don't understand. You don't understand why you can't pay your electricity bill. But you have to be obedient, because there's a bigger purpose at stake. There's a bigger reasoning behind it. You have a story. You have a legacy. But before the legacy is built, there has to be testimony in back of it, to have action and to be able to deliver a force and a reasoning why people are going to listen to you or why people are going to change on your account. You can't just fall into your purpose unbeknownst to you. That's not the way this life works. There's going to be trial. There's going to be testimony behind the legacy that's built by you, by God. And you're not going to understand every corridor. You're not going to understand every setback, but that's okay. Your whole job is to be obedient and to be surrendering to what he has in store for you. And that takes place on the daily. Daily it takes place. So you're not going to understand everything. Who cares? You're not going to always find yourself every day it's a positive day. Oh, that's another day in the books. That's another step forward. Sometimes you're going to have step backs. You're going to take a step back some days. Who cares? You don't understand why. Who cares? It's not your job to understand why. God already wrote the last page in your book before you were even conceived. He knows what he's doing. But you got to have a trust. You got to have a blind faith and understanding that there's more to my life. That this is a season that I'm in. This is a door, even though this isn't a profitable door, it's still a door that I'm walking through. It's not the door that I want it to be, but it's still profitable. If I had orchestrated things the way I would have wanted them to be orchestrated with what I thought where I was supposed to go, I'll tell you one thing. It would have been so surface, it would have been so short-lived, and it would not have produced any legacy for me. I remember when I was a trainer in Los Angeles and I was training at this big gym, big profitable gym. I mean, we had quotas of, we had to meet like $100,000, $120,000 in PT every month. And we did it because we were great trainers and it was only like the best of the best in the area. I'm not saying that to toot my horn, I'm just giving you context here. We had large markers to meet and it was a profitable gym. We did great things in that gym, but I wanted to go out on my own. And I thought, man, as most trainers think, if I can only become a celebrity trainer, get one celebrity client, like Kim Kardashian, I'll train her, I'll end up training Kanye, I'll end up training her sisters, I might get on their episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Oh, that's like a dream come true. I'd make so much money and I'd be just training celebrities and I'd be getting notoriety for it, right? What? How does that not seem to fit God and your plan for me? Why would that not work? I prayed for that, guys. I prayed for that. But it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because I wasn't good enough. It didn't happen because that is short-lived with regards to where God wants to take me. That's peanuts to where God wants me. And I see it now. That was like 5-6 years ago. I see it now. I see why I didn't get that position, why I didn't start training celebrities. Because if I had, I would have stayed in Los Angeles. And if I stayed in Los Angeles, I would have never moved back here. And I would have never had the ability to be here and start my business here and have the impact on regular individuals here, which is the best. Because when you train celebrities, they don't care about you. When you implement your same strategies and your same heart and your same passion on the people that are quote unquote regular, that's where you make impact. You make impact there. But you don't have the same effect on celebrities or athletes because they don't care. Because they're just using you, you're disposable to them. But to regular people that need you, that actually need your services, that actually need your inspiration, your motivation to change their life, that's what makes impact. That's where you have the most utility, is when you can augment the lives of somebody that's regular. Because now you've propelled them, and now you've enlisted more inspiration in them and more drive in them. And who knows, you might set them up with the body that they want to meet Mr. Right or Mrs. Right that they wouldn't have had before because they lacked the confidence or the self-esteem. You see the utility behind it. There's no utility behind training a celebrity or an athlete. There's nothing. It's short-lived. But I couldn't think in the future. I only thought with what is going to glorify Justin? What's going to give Justin a great name? Not what's going to give God the glory. What's going to give God his big name? What's going to glorify the kingdom in heaven that we can't see on earth, but that needs to be displayed on earth? Well, that's what I'm doing now. I feel that now. I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I just ended up training celebrities. It would have been surface. It would have been shallow. And I get it now. But I didn't get it back then. I didn't understand. But I understand more now. And now I'm in the next segment of my life. I don't understand where that segment is going. But I understand that I'm in the right position to be able to receive whatever it is God wants to bring my way. I'm more obedient now than I've ever been. I'm more hopeful now than I've ever been. I'm trusting in advance because I know God knows what he's doing above what I know what I'm doing. Where is God taking you? You don't know. You don't get it. I understand. But you got to have hope and faith in understanding that the creator of this earth, who created your entire physiology from every vein to every cell in your body, knows what he's doing with your life, knows where he wants to take you, knows how he wants to make you the impact on people around you, to change their lives, to better them in their progression, or to better them in their walk, to be able to understand and to let it give to God. You letting go and understanding that you only have today, and to be obedient in this day and surrender your flaws to God this day is going to be your progression. That's going to be the catapult to you finding where you're supposed to be inevitably. And honestly, you're not going to get it. You're not going to understand. That's okay. Not everybody's going to like you. That's okay. You're going to be different. That's okay. I advocate being different, because different is the thing that's going to get you where you want to be, I believe. You coming into your difference, you coming into your uniquity, that's going to be the driver for you to come and be self-aware with the talents that he's given you, with what he's ingrained in you, in your soul, which is to glorify him through the talents that he's given you. Gosh, just believe, just let down your dumb walls and your guard. I know it's hard, but you gotta believe and you gotta understand. God knows what he's doing. He created your entire, just context. He created your entire body, vein to cell, all the bones, everything. He made it. Doctors to this day are still investigating the brain and how it works in its entirety. They still haven't figured out the magnitude, all the faculties associated with the brain and the body and how it works 100%. They still don't know everything. God did that years and years and years ago. What makes you think he can't drive you in the course of your life towards becoming the legacy you were made to be, towards living out the seeds that he's cultivated in your spirit? What makes you think he doesn't have the wherewithal to make that happen? He does. Absolutely. It's easy for him. It's hard for you because you have to trust. You got to trust the bigger person here. And you yourself, you always think you're the biggest person. You think you have all the answers. You got all the strength. You don't got it. God does. And you got to be able to surrender. You got to be able to live obediently. You got to be able to be passive when it comes to God, because he knows where he's taking you. You don't. Just be obedient. Trust in advance. Finish.